Let's have a bit of fun today and build a completely dynamic chart where every component, including the title, watch, changes just with the selection of a slicer. I'm going to break it right down to the component parts behind the scenes and then show you how to drop it back onto a dashboard to present it properly. So we've got a number of key parts in bringing all of this together. We've got a table, we've got some pivot tables, we've got a pivot chart, some slicers and a formula. Let me take you through them one by one. So I point out at the start that normally I would have all these components on different worksheets. So I would have a data worksheet that would have this table in it here. And this is obviously the first part. Nice clear headings, consistent data in a set format. I would then have a pivots worksheet where I'd have my pivot tables. I'd then probably have a dashboard that would have the pivot charts on it. But in this case, I've got them all on one sheet for you so I can work through the example and we can see how each component affects and impacts each other. So we're going to start by doing a really simple pivot table. I put off using pivot tables for ages because I thought they were this daunting, horrible thing. They're absolutely not. I'm going to show you how simple they can be today. What a pivot table ultimately does is summarizes values together and then splits them by different attributes. So in this case, we've got two attributes, period and week, and then we've got our revenue column, which is our values. So we could total the revenue or we could split it by period or by week or by both of them. It's a bit like a sum if or a count if you've ever seen one of those before, but a much quicker and more efficient way of doing it. I've just flicked back to our finished example so I can show you what we're going to do first. We're going to create a pivot table which gives us the total value of all of the revenue in this table. So we can see down here 307,249 and that's the value we've got in here. Let's click back to the build and get started. If you've got your data stored in an Excel table, which I will always recommend and you'll hear me bang on about it loads, then creating a pivot table is dead easy. You can click anywhere inside it and then click on the insert menu at the top, hit pivot table and it will suggest to you that you use the full table. So it knows what the range is because it's got headings and it's set as an Excel table. So existing worksheet or new worksheet, those are the two different places we can put it. I'm going to put it on a new worksheet just temporarily, just to talk you through quickly how a pivot table works. So you may or may not have a pane over to the right with all of the list of your fields and basically the inner workings of a pivot table. You need that on, and if you haven't got it, right click on your pivot, anywhere on your pivot, and click show field list, and you'll see a pane appears over to the right. Now what a pivot table does in its most simple state is total or summarize values. We've got one set of values in our table, which is revenue, and you can see it's picked that out as a field. If we drag that down to the values section, it will total up all of the revenue. So we've got 307,249, the number that we saw previously when we totaled our table. If we want to split that by something, we can split it by one of the attributes, and we've got two attributes, week and period. So if we drop week in, we can see that we've got all of the weeks and the total revenue for that, and then the total here, grand total 307,249. If we add in period before that, it splits it first by period and then by week. So we've got the total by period and then the individual weeks in there as well. Now, one option I always like to change in pivots is the report layout. I always prefer the tabular form. There's very few cases that you won't find that more useful as you go forward. Typically, I'll always remove the subtotals as well. So subtotals, do not show subtotals, and grand totals, I take those off as well. And that's because normally in a dashboard, there's different ways that you can obtain those values, or you do a pivot table just with a grand total because that's the purpose that you need it for. And that's what we're going to do here in a minute. So let's turn that off as well. If you wanted to, and this is something that people ask all the time, if I wanted January repeated down here, we can click on report layout and we can go on repeat all item labels. Now let me show you what else we can do here in a pivot. We've got January on the left and we've got week on the right. That's because we've got period first and then week. If we swap this round and we do week and then period, you'll get a list of all your weeks and then what period they're in. But for now, what we're trying to do is get the grand total of everything regardless of week or period. So you can just drop these back into this box here, or you can tick the one that you don't want or untick it and that will disappear. We've got our sum of revenue and we can just right click, copy, and then drop it into our build where we want it here. And as with a table, you can go into design and choose a different look for it. Now you might be thinking at this point, well, that's a really complicated way of just getting the total from this table. I could have just done a sum to get the same. Yeah, you could, but then you'd be restricting yourself on all the really nice spunky stuff that we're going to do in a minute with slicers, graphs, and other bits. Clicking back to our finished example for a second, we can see that the next thing we need to make is this pivot table for weeks, so revenue by weeks. We did that a minute ago, but all we're going to do is go back into our build, take a copy of the pivot. Now to do that, you need to make sure that you highlight the whole pivot and everything contained within it. So this, in this case, it's 2 cells. Right click, copy, and then we're going to paste that down here. Right click and paste. Again, we need to right click and show field list. This time we're going to put week in the rows, and now we've got our total revenue by week. Now we get to speed up a bit. So as we know, we can click on a table and we can add a slicer. If you've not watched the video on that, go and watch it. You can also add slicers to pivot tables. So we can click anywhere in this pivot table, click insert, slicer, and it will give us our attributes that are in here. So we're going to click period, click OK, and then we've got this slicer here, which I'm going to drop over here. I'm going to set it to my custom format, which fits nicely into that bar on the left, and that's what it's for. Again, if you've not seen the video on that, go and look through my playlist on my beginner course, and it'll show you how to do the custom formatting. Now I can use this slicer to select a single period, and then it will just show me the weeks of that period. If I click February, I'll just see the weeks of that period. Now you'll notice that the total has stayed the same, so 307249. Now with a pivot table, it is connected to a data source, which in our case is a table. For all pivots that are connected to that data source, you can make a single slicer that works and changes all of them. So to do that, if we right click on the slicer, click on report connections, we can see that pivot table 9, which is our bi-week one, is selected already. If I click on pivot table 7 as well, click OK, and then we'll see that the slicers actually affect both of these pivot tables. So to add a pivot chart from a pivot table is dead easy. You just click anywhere inside the pivot table and it knows to use the attributes that you've selected and nothing else. So you don't need to pick any ranges or anything like that. It's completely dynamic, and as you change the pivot with the slicers, the chart will change as well. I'll show you in a second. Click insert, recommended charts, and we're going to go for column at the moment. Now what we'll notice immediately is that when we change the slicers, the chart will change as well, and that is because the slicer is linked to the pivot table and the chart is also linked to the pivot table, so they all change dynamically together. I tidy these up by getting rid of these field buttons on the chart. I don't think they add any value. I also like data labels on small data sets that are visualized, so click on that, which means that this axis is pretty much redundant, as are these horizontal bars, as is this legend here. And as you know, in a minute we're going to change the total, the title in that is total, and we're going to make that completely dynamic and linked to your selections. So onto the slicer selections part. What I'm trying to do here is get whatever's selected in the period slicer as a value in this cell here. So in this case, I would want it to show April. Once it's in a cell, I can then use it in a formula to manipulate and do all sorts of other things, like putting it as the heading in a chart. So what we're going to do to achieve that, and if you Google this, by the way, how do I get the value of a slicer into a cell? You get all sorts of complicated and convoluted answers with code and all sorts of stuff. This, I think, is a much easier way and not one that I've seen online, although I may not have Googled very well. So first of all, we're going to copy one of our existing pivot tables. It doesn't matter which one. And for now, I'm just going to put it down here. You'll see why in a minute. I want to get rid of revenue, but first what I want to do is put period, which is our slicer option, and I want to drop that into the filters. And you can see here it's added a filter above our pivot, which allows us, similar to a slicer, to select any of the months that are in there. Now I want to get rid of revenue. So if I unclick that, I've now got this, which I can then move up the top here. Now if I tried to do that up here, so if I put the copy of the pivot up here, the revenue column and other bits would have made the slicer big enough that it would have gone over the chart title, and as a result that would have failed. So what I've done is just built it below where there's space and then moved it up. Now if you've got, as I said earlier, a different place for your pivots and then for your data and other things, you won't run into these problems, but it's just something that you might come across at some point, so I thought I'd point it out. So now I know exactly what is selected in my slicer. By clicking on March, February, January, we can see that it changes in this filter selection pivot over here. The next part is to create the dynamic formula for our chart title. So in here, we're going to use a concatenate, so equals concatenate, open brackets, and we're going to type revenue for space and speech marks, put a comma, and then we want to click on D4, which will give us whatever value the slicer has selected at any given time. Close the brackets, hit enter, and then we've got revenue for January. As we change to February, March, April, we can see that our chart title changes. Now all we've got to do is put it into the chart itself. To do that, you just click into the chart, click into the title here at the top, and then click into the formula bar, equals, and then point it at where we've got our chart title formula. Now you can't put a formula directly into the title, but you can point the title at a cell which has a formula in it, and that's what we're going to do here. So you can see it's linked to build C8. If I click enter, I get revenue for April in that chart. Now again, as I change to March, February, January, you can see that the chart title is changing completely dynamically. So the final part is to try and get the total into this text box here. To get a text box, you would just go insert, text box, and you just draw it on the screen. I'm going to delete that one because we've got one already. It works in exactly the same way as the title. So you can click into here, go into here and click equals, and then point it at a cell. So I could do revenue for January and that would show in there, or we want to point it at this total in our pivot table. Now here's a bit of a tricky bit. So let's type equals again in here and try and point it at the pivot table. Hit enter and we're going to get an error. It can't point at a part of a pivot table because it will try and do some logic on it because it knows it's a pivot table. However, if you use the cell reference instead of this get pivot data thing that it tries to do, it will work. So we know that cell reference to be C13. So in here, we just want to change that. We don't need these anchor tags. C13. Hit enter and we've got 83035. What we need to do though is just change it to currency and get rid of the decimals, and that will show better in there. Now we can just make this a bit bigger. What I'd probably do as well in the shape format is take the outline off, maybe change its color. So where would we do that? Text fill, and let's change it to red, make it a bit smaller, and then we could put that up here. You can see it's tucked behind the chart here. So if we right click and do bring to front, it will sit in front of this data here nicely. Now it's still overlapping that January a bit. So if we make the background of it transparent by going to no fill, then all of the white space will just be transparent. So we'll see the stuff behind it through. And then we've got a completely dynamic chart. So as we click February, March, we'll see that the total changes, but we also get the individual values. Now, finally, we just need to tart this up a bit, right click, format data labels, and we're going to change it to currency here. So the data labels look right. Get rid of the decimals, hit OK. So we've got the individual values represented as bars, and then we've got the total in the top right. Nice and easy. To finish it off, I've moved the graph onto a tab of its own where I've changed the colors of the graph to make it look a bit prettier, and we can see that it works completely dynamically. All of the workings have been left on that other sheet. So this is the start of a dashboard.